Hello, 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 everyone.
Oh,
Hey,
hello.
good evening.
I'm telling you, look, we got a little fancy thing going on just for y'all to know that yes, we have upgraded to restreaming, so we're no longer using StreamYard. So we have a little kind of like a little fancy look here. We got our little blue and green. I don't know what kind of background we got there, but um, looking all fancy. So how y'all doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
So
Good.
today,
Finally got it started. So,
so today we are going to talk about: are we really prepared for the storms that are taking place in 2024? Do y'all think we're prepared for these storms?
Um, for me, I think somewhat, but I think it's based on the individual. I can't speak for everybody, but I know that we kind of like stay ready, but it's still certain things that we have to do to get to be safe and stuff like that. As far as like going out and buying a few other things that you need for your household to make sure that you have enough food or toiletry and stuff like that. So we try to continue to stock up that stuff. So therefore, we won't have to be out here when everybody's out here going crazy and fighting in the stores and stuff like that. So we try to stay ready. So being ready for the storms, I would say probably 90% because we don't know how the storm is going to affect us. So I say about 90% that we are ready for the storm.
Okay. Eric?
yes, we're ready because the storms is they call it storm season for a reason. It happens every year, and once you've been through it once, you should have an idea on what to expect from it. So the basic toiletries we always keep in stock. We always keep beans. We always keep rice. We always keep that on hand. So when the storm happens and you see the mad dash for the grocery stores with those selfish people not thinking about anybody else, I ain't gonna say it's just another day, but we're used to it. We have flashlights. We have candles. We got all that. We're ready. So it's not rocket science. If they say you're gonna be underwater, it's time to go. You can wait it out somewhere else instead of there when you can take the chance of leaving this earth prematurely. So I would say yes, we're ready. We're always ready for anything. If you expect the worst and hope for the best, you'll always be prepared.
Okay. Tish, what about you? What do you think?
Mm-mm. Nah, I'm too fresh off of what we just went through, and I can say no, I wasn't ready. Not to see that when it. If you talking about the storms that we've had in the past, that was nothing. Nobody could have prepared for what happened to us last week.
No.
I mean, that's just. I'm sorry. I realistically, after living through it, no, I'll never be ready for something like that again. That was horrible because it's a difference between water is bad, but when you got just power poles and uh trees falling through people's houses and people's cars and just people getting killed in their house because the tree fell through, that's not something you can get ready for. I can tell you what it did do for me. I will not buy as much food as I've bought in the past. So I will be changing the way that I do some things. Simply because when you're without power for 5 or 6 days and you have to throw out a freezer full of food like that, it makes you come to a realization that you overspend, you overcompensate for things. So I'll never have a freezer full of food like that again. Mm-mm. Because that was just a complete waste. So it just has really, even today when I went into the store, I just had a different mindset about shopping. I didn't pick up things like I normally would. I think moving forward, I'll have a real simple, minimized mindset as far as getting groceries and stuff. So if it's not something because that was very catastrophic from a perspective of you threw away your whole freezer, your whole refrigerator. There's nothing that you could salvage unless you had a generator. Um, so it makes you look at kind of stuff differently. You need to know when you're getting solar panels that you need to get a solar panel system that includes a generator. Otherwise, the solar panels are a waste. They don't work without a generator still. Um, and then you need to know what type of generators you're getting. Another thing, whenever your power goes off for that many days, you need to make sure you're cutting your air conditioner, basically your power breaker, cut all that stuff off. A girl here didn't. Power came back on,
Yeah.
blew up her house. So we've had a lot of that. It's a lot that was learned in this situation. And I, just to express the magnitude of what happened for us, this is the worst storm that's ever came inland. So nobody has ever experienced an inland storm like this before. So I can just honestly tell y'all, ain't no getting ready for this. This is just something you would have to live. The key thing, and I always say, is making sure that your mental health, because some people have been 2 weeks in the dark, no lights, no power, and then it was no water.
Right.
Water was turned off as well. So we can have all, I was looking at the same thing like y'all were. I got beans, I got none of that stuff mattered. Couldn't do nothing with it. So unless you know how to, the biggest thing is make sure you know how to grill. So make sure you got some charcoal. That's what you need to have. Look, charcoal, so you can move everything out your refrigerator and cook it on the grill. So yeah, just the other thing too is those little, what do you call them? The little things you light when you have like parties or whatever. And you put them under the aluminum pans to keep the food.
Oh, you talking about the warmers?
Yeah, those would be more beneficial to have. So I'm gonna go buy some of those because you could still cook or warm food with those. And keep your little stash of aluminum pans in the event something like this happened, because if you couldn't go outside and cook on the grill, you could still use something like that in the house to warm up food. So just things like that. I think this was more of a learning experience than anything. But definitely I've been doing some reprogramming my mindset about a lot of stuff that I've done, and I won't be doing a lot of things the same anymore.
I would say that it takes a lot to be prepared for these type of storms. So like for us that's on the coast, we're used to hurricanes and stuff coming in, but the way this one came in, it came in a whole different way. And I think no one's expecting a storm to come that far inward. Tornadoes are a little bit different than hurricanes, but when you have a combination of both, and I think that's what it is that we got hit. Especially like those in the mountains got hit from all directions. There's no way they could have been prepared for that. Where we're at on the coast side, we know what's like. We're kind of used to the tornado situation. We're used to the hurricane situation, but the flooding is what people are not really prepared for. When you're not used to being flooded or a lot of stuff, like, because a lot of people, they're prepared for the power outage,
Yes.
but that's only one symptom
Yeah.
of what goes on. And I think that's what people understand. It's just like in Augusta, Georgia, I was coming through Augusta, Georgia this past Sunday, and the problem with Augusta, Georgia, y'all, there's just way too many pine trees in Augusta. And almost everywhere, almost every 5 miles, there was just pine trees that had taken out the power lines. And I mean, it was like the damage that was done just on that one road. Almost every 5 miles, pine trees, power lines down. Pine trees, power lines down. So one of the key things, and then even on I-20, it was so many trees down on the highway that it was ridiculous. So it's like, now I know they're going to go back and rethink. Now, are we going to have trees that close to the roadways and the power lines? Because Augusta, Georgia, I saw. I'm not sure if y'all saw that video where they had like 5 teams and they were going from one section to the power lines to the next, and it was just like they had to repair every single because all those trees have fallen on all those different power lines, and that's it. There's never been that much damage done inward, like inland, compared to because like inland they're not prepared. Like okay, yeah, tornadoes is one thing, but that much damage was done because they weren't really prepared for it. Because like I know, like my house, the only tree that can do any damage is to my shed back there. That's my neighbor's tree behind me. But that's just something me. When we purchased house, that's one of the biggest things is I didn't want no trees to be near my house because I know how bad it is here in North Carolina when it comes to hurricanes. All it takes is the ground to get wet and the wind to blow, and that tree's going down.
Yeah, because pine trees have short roots.
They do.
So that was the issue. But this area is just flooded with they would have to blow it up and start over again and get rid of all the pine trees. I mean, that's just predominantly what's here. And it it wasn't as much as the flooding for us as it was the amount of rain. I think we got 3 days worth of rain in 24 hours. And then you added that wind and then those trees having short roots, and that's what uprooted. And I mean, it was literally looked like a bomb went off. I mean, they're still fixing roads, are still blocked off today. People are still without power. This isn't over for us. And then we've got the threat of Milton. If it brings any form of wind here Thursday, we're done for.
We're actually getting. I think we're getting some kind of wind. I don't know where this wind coming from today, but today I walked outside this morning and we're getting all kinds of extra wind. I'm not sure if it's because of the storm or just it's a windy day, but it's just like right now. Again, you got Florida. Let's take Florida for example. Y'all all saw the video clips of how they're trying to get out of Florida.
Right.
I don't know. It seemed like Florida would have had a better plan because they get hit with hurricanes all the time.
And they're surrounded on 3 sides by water.
Right. So it's a peninsula. So that's it, right? It's a peninsula. Yeah. Okay. But look, I didn't go back and okay. But it's like I know in Virginia, when there's a hurricane, lanes, I mean, south and north or east or west lanes are open for exit. But in the video clips, we can actually look and see that they're only having that one lane open going north, but the south lane is still letting the cars come south. So I don't know. I just think it might be the leadership, might be bad piss poor leadership, but it just got to the point where like these storms are getting hit and left. We're getting hit left and right. And they said this was going to be a bad hurricane season. But the only thing you can do is prepare for, like I said, the symptoms of what we have after the fact, which is power outages and trying our best to, like I said, when it comes to down trees, I mean, that was the biggest thing. I was like, I don't want no trees near my house because I know how bad it storms in North Carolina.
Right.
You can prepare. You just aren't prepared for what happens. You can prepare all day. You can get a generator. That's my next thing I'm thinking about is go ahead and get the generator so to circumvent the food law because it's like a dagger in your heart when you got to throw away food that was good prior to the power outage. But then you have you I've been on the fence up and down about a generator, and what happened?
That's me.
That's Mario, not you, Eric.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, his phone started ringing, maybe.
Yeah, my phone started ringing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to lean toward go ahead and getting the generator. Just one of them have have it and not need it, then the need it and not have it thing. Because this year was a real eye opener as compared as seeing what happened as compared to in the past. You know, there are some people like Tisha said, it's still 2 weeks without power, and the other problem you have is if that place is underwater that's without power, then the generator means nothing because it can't do nothing for you. So, yet and still, you have to weigh the good and the bad. But you know, like I said, we prepare, but nobody is prepared for what actually happens because all you get is a bunch of guidelines. So by the time the storm hits, it does something totally different.
And also too, we have to stop waiting, like, because I know that they keep people updated. Like Tisha said, they was never prepared for that. But like the ones that, like, let's just say Florida, it's like they knew a couple of like about a week ago or 2 weeks that Milton was coming. And why do we wait till the day before to try to, you know what I'm saying? That's why there's so much congestion. That's why because people, you know, the highways, and then people have road rage because they feel like their safety is more important than the next person's safety. And then they're running out of gas, and then the gas stations is running out of gas. And, you know, I think sometimes we as human beings, that's just our mindset sometimes. We just wait to the last minute because we're thinking that we're overthinking somebody else, but everybody else is thinking the same thing that you're thinking. Well, I can get up in the morning, I can leave. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we have to start preparing ourselves like ahead of time. Once we know what's going to happen, not when we don't know what's going to happen. Because like Tisha said, you know that she wasn't prepared for that. But it's like when you know, then it's like, and if you have to evacuate, don't wait till the day before to try to evacuate because everybody's going to be thinking the same thing, and that's when the roads are going to be congested. And like you said, you're going to have those ones that think that their family safety is more important than your family safety. So you're going to have the road rage. You're going to have people trying to cut in front of each other. It's just a mess. It's just a mess.
What you got to consider too is Florida was just hit by Helene too.
Yeah.
So I can tell you now, we're just now getting our gas stations and stuff back functional. So they may not have had options for gas still. That's the part everybody's missing too. They got hit the same week that we did before we did by the same category 4.
And then they also got hit that prior in August too.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, so they've taken 3. They're taking like technically 2 hits and about to take another third one.
Direct hit, and this one's the worst one ever. Because it's producing so much that it's saying the earth. This is the most capacity of a surge that the earth has ever had. So all I'm saying is it's a lot of this is easier said than done. I would sit around and say a lot of things. I'm very humble right now. I'm grateful, but I can tell you it's still jacked up here. Again, if we get any amount of wind Thursday, we're going to be right back in the same situation because all day long my power's flickering, all day long my internet is up and down. So it's still, the grid is still not stable. Wow. So imagine Florida that has taken all these direct hits, their stuff is still not stable. The next thing is we don't know what people's financial situation is. So if they just evacuated, went back home to try to get things fixed with their home and then got to re-evacuate again, that, you know, that can be part of too why people aren't leaving expeditiously or didn't leave last week. Hell, they probably had just got back. If they even, you know what I mean? Because you got to get back. You can't, they won't go in and assess the damage to your house unless you're there.
Right.
So, you know, you got to consider that's what I mean by the mental preparedness of this whole thing, because it's not just physically what you have, but the mental toll that it takes. And especially when you have children, it's been easier for me to have my son to go with his dad while I deal with some of the things that I've had to, than to have him here. And unfortunately, we got a society of children who feel like they're going to die if they ain't got Wi-Fi. So I can't imagine what some people are going through with these little people out of school, nothing to do. Yeah, you can send them outside to play, but they still got to come back in. There's no power, there's no air conditioner, everybody's irritable, it's hot. It's a lot to soak in. And then you go to the grocery stores and there's no food.
Right.
I mean, when I say, because most of the grocery stores have had to throw out their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So today in Walmart, eggs were $8. $7.58. Yeah. Yep. $7.58. So you trying to show us some generators?
Well, no, this is my power station.
Okay.
So here, this is 48 hours worth of battery power, power inverters that can be ran in the house. So, and then I have a charger, which I just purchased this weekend, that allows me to charge these batteries up in my truck. So I will always have power. So when one set of batteries die, I just go out to the car and charge up the batteries, and then it keeps it going. So of course, yeah, this is kind of expensive because like that generator, that's a power inverter, that's an 1800 watt. I mean, that cost me about 700. And then the smaller ones were the small ones are only $50 each, and then the medium sized one were $100 each. But I got enough to cover the entire house, so I have one for each room, so everybody can run their own power in the room. And then the big one is just in case if I need to hook it up to the refrigerator. And then on top of this, I also have two gas generators that are downstairs in the shed. So it's like
why don't you just then get that Generex thing so that as soon as your power clicks off, then everything cuts back on anyways?
Because it's too expensive.
You're looking at about $6,000.
About $6,000?
Yeah.
It's for my house it's like 10,000.
Yeah, it's starting about.
It all depends on how much wattage you want.
Yeah.
But like I said now, what a lot of new houses are doing is they're getting that converter where you can plug a regular generator in and it runs your house.
I ain't gonna lie, that would be $10,000 worth spending.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely.
Look, I'm like, let me get a loan or something and go on make that happen, because I'm telling you, that would be $10,000 well spent. Like, you would get your money back from that with just a peace of mind. Look,
you just look at from 2020 to now, how many power outages that we have had, and it would have paid. I mean, you would have got your money's worth.
Yeah, like more than your money's worth at this point, especially when we had that ice storm that time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know until this happened that such a thing existed, that it would, hook up to your house that way. And then if your power went off, I always knew about the ones you just showed,
mm-hmm.
or the gas ones. But this one looks like an air conditioner unit or something.
It is, right.
It sits outside. And it's like you never went without power.
So the one right now for like my size, I know that for Eric, it probably costs like Eric's and Marcel is gonna probably cost more because they have more square footage and more outlets than I do. But it's like I know when I got a quote on it, it was roughly like close to $10,000.
Now the way around that is the most important thing is to get your power, get everything you want. They say, hey, what do you want? I want everything to run. So get an electrician to go in there and do the work on that. Once you get that done, then you can find out what size generator you need. Let's just say 9,000. You can purchase that from Harbor Freight.
Right.
For way less. The most important thing is getting the transfer switch installed in your panel. So in case the power goes out, you turn it off, switch it over to the generator, plug it in, start it, and you're good. Now, those things are nice. It'll be nice as soon as the power go off, shut on, it comes on, and when the power comes back on, it'll shut itself off. That'd be nice. But the price it's up there. So
it's up there.
The way you can circumvent that, like I said, make sure you have a certified electrician go ahead to your electrical panel. You say what you want. The kits are in Lowe's and Home Depot. You can get the kits get the kit, and you tell him, I want everything ran, he will do that, run it to do the lockout switch, do the transfer switch. And then all you would have to do is get the generator and run the cord to, most of the time they run them to the outside.
Right.
The most important thing is to make sure that if your power is out, you have the thing turned off to your generator. So in case the power comes back on, no boom. We don't want boom. Boom is bad.
Right. Right.
Boom is bad.
So you're
That's what
saying
they-
you could do that with the gas generator?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just that's the cheapest way, because right now that has become a real popular thing. A lot more people. I've been seeing a lot of media about that kit where you can just hook a regular generator up to it. Because like the thing is, you got to pay close attention to the wattage
Yes.
as far as what you're pitching. Because like me, my smaller generator, it only does 1,200 watts.
Yes.
My bigger generator does 5,000 watts. So that's critical and that's important. But then I got the power inverter because you can't put a generator in your house, because then carbon monoxide, it'll kill you.
You know,
So-
this family
people
did
died
that,
in
and the
Charlotte,
whole
yeah.
family died.
Right.
Inside in the house, they don't understand why he did it. I guess because a lot of people steal people
They were
generators.
stealing.
Steal it.
That's
Right.
the
Why he kept it
downside.
in his house.
That's the downside to doing it this way.
Right.
You have to keep an eye on it, because you can't
Right.
keep an eye on it, you die of carbon monoxide. But if you see a person might see an opportunity
And come steal your generator.
and take your generator. Now you stuck back to square one. So you got
It's
to
crazy.
wait. You got to. You just got.
That's why I say it's better. I spent a lot of money this past year just on power inverters, because with power inverter it's clean energy. You charge at the batteries, and as long as you have a charging system, like I bought a charging system for my truck, more so when I DJ, I can charge up the batteries as I'm DJing, and then we just replace the batteries. That's one of the good things about a power inverter. You never have to worry about anything blowing up. You don't have to worry about any film. It's a smooth transition of changing out the battery and keeping things running. So that's why I said that's why I went out and bought the kit. It's not, and like I said, of course, with the military discount, you go to Home Depot. I mean, like I said, there's I sent a couple. I sent two of the smaller ones. They're 150 watt power inverters to my dad, my dad, stepmom, and my father, my granddad. And so they all have one. So at least it's going to be good for 4 hours. Those are really good for 4 hours. But like I said, if you buy, and see, the thing is, the batteries are so darn cheap now for the smaller ones. If you buy an 8-pack, an 8-pack will last you at least 3 days. So by the time that's just before you recharge any of the other batteries. So it's those batteries. I'm not sure if people are paying attention to how these power inverters are they're getting cheaper and cheaper to purchase. And it lasts forever and a long time. And then if you have, like you said, you got your grill for the outside. I mean, like, look,
You good then?
you're good. You're actually good to go.
The like I said, I just didn't anticipate it to be out for so long. I think
Right.
was the issue. And I cooked all my food too soon.
Look, party at Tisha's house.
Yeah, I had to cook everything. I was like, yeah, we're gonna get all this food, make sure don't nothing go bad. Then we didn't have no food. Because again, who's thinking at the like when you've never experienced power outage for that extensive amount of time, then it's like you prepared, but you're really not prepared. So I felt like I was on that movie I Am Legend for a minute. I'm like, golly. I mean, literally you riding over power lines. You don't know if you about to be electrocuted. You don't know what's
Yeah, you know what?
Okay.
That was scary to me, because when we were going through Augusta, we saw all those power lines that were down. And so my sister was telling me, like we were both looking both left and right. I said, well, we got rubber tires. We should be good. Look, I'm thinking we're
I
good.
still was scared.
If you get out and want to investigate, that makes you a dummy.
That's when you become an issue. That's when you
I wouldn't even trust it because I got them run flats. So with some steel in there somewhere, I was worried. I'm like, wait a minute, I got run flats, so my tire ain't all the way rubber. I could be up out of here. I said, let me go and get out of here. So, but see, that's now I will say where I'm prepared, where a lot of people don't think ahead. I already knew the gas stations were going to be chaotic from Fran that time in North Carolina. So I'm one of those people. People laugh at me. I won't ride past a half a tank of gas.
Right.
So if I get to a half a tank, that's like being on empty for me. I don't even know what my gas light looks like.
And you know what? I'm so glad you said that.
To see it. Look, I'm like,
I'm glad you said that because, like, when we left from Atlanta, we filled up. We normally refill once we get to like on the other side of Augusta, just to be safe. Well, this time they had no gas until we got into Columbia, and then once we got in Columbia, we had to get on the other side of town because that's where they actually technically we got to the side. They didn't have any gas, so we had to wait. Really, go over to Florence to get gas. But when we got to Florence, only had 25 miles left until I was on E.
Ugh, my nerves would have been shot. Y'all would have been. Oh Lord, I would have ate my fingers off almost. I'm just saying, like that no gas thing for me.
And see, what was so funny is me and my sister was laughing. We had this one car that was in front of us, and it had gas cans strapped down to the top. I said, "Oh, we're about to set it off up in here. We're about to do some road warrior, because like in road warrior, they're fighting over gasoline. So we were looking like, the gas looking kind of good right about now."
Target.
What you got on my gas can? That's what
a target.
The preparedness that we do when they say a storm is going to hit, we'll automatically go fill up the car and we'll go fill the truck.
Right.
And we just wait it out. It just
then also like what I do is we have two gas containers down on the back. We'll go fill those up. If it's something where we know we're going to be, we'll fill both of those up because, like I said, a full gas. Like if you pull up depends on what type of generator you have. Most of the time, a generator will last for 8 hours.
Yes, 8 hours.
Gas, and most time, full tank of gas for generators 5 gallons.
About 5 gallons, yeah.
So glad y'all said it because I might go fill my gas can up tomorrow. Because the thing is, my car takes premium gas, so I might want to go get me a little premium gas. Does it matter once it gets in the gas can? Is it still premium if I gotta wait a couple days to use it? I don't know nothing about it. All I know is right now my car is on full. It's on the whole F. Okay. Listen, when everybody was telling me I ain't got gas, I'm like, now I got gas and I had food. Like I was able to leave town. That wasn't a problem. But that's to me, if you don't learn nothing else, these people that ride on E, I think they messed around and found out last week. Between trying to wait in them lines to get gas, okay. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. So,
they might be like the Flintstones, like yabba yabba do, and they gotta start rolling with them.
So many cars on the side of the road, and you know they were new cars and stuff, so you knew they had just ran out of gas.
They had just ran out of gas.
Yeah, and that's another thing. If you decide to get a generator, you need to get at least
the gas
20 gallons, so at least 4 or 5 gallon gas cans on standby. Do you have to have the gas sitting? No. Just when the time comes, go ahead and the gas ain't gonna shut down. Go ahead and get your little full gas can, turn the generator.
I'm gonna go get that gas can tomorrow and fill that up. Yeah. Now my car is on the F, but if I got to go somewhere, then I got me a backup. I can smell a little gas rather than just the. I'm telling y'all, I still haven't recovered from everything that I've seen. And this is not funny. One of the ladies that I know, she posted on Facebook, she had a little outside cat. Why the cat done got hit by a tree and it was paralyzed and had to be put down? I said, what the? Yeah, the cat was a little outside cat. Anytime you would come to her house, it would be outside on her porch.
Oh.
And it was outside when the storm hit and got paralyzed, and she had to put the cat down too. So it's been a lot going on. I'm like, good Lord, the cat done had to get put down. just a lot. Stuff you wouldn't even think about. Look.
But that's one of the things that when you said that, it made me think about something. It's like, do communities really have a plan? Like, and this is what I've seen is a lot of communities do not have an actual plan.
Mm-mm.
They're not proactive; they're reactive, and I think that's the problem. Is
That's
we're,
America.
that's
Welcome
America.
to America.
We're so reactive to things versus being proactive. It's like, okay, if you know a storm is coming, then why not cut down those trees that could do damage to your house? I mean, to me, there's a lot of stuff that's almost common sense to where it's not common sense because a lot of people don't do anything to prepare for it. It's like if I hear that we're going to have the worst hurricane season ever, every tree that can possibly do damage to my house is going to come down.
He's a victim.
But people don't prepare themselves for it. So that's why I wonder, like, that's why we ask this question: are we ready? And in most cases, there's some of us that are ready. Like I know, being in the military, yeah, we look that I am. What is it? What was the movie you just talked about? Will Smith.
Oh,
Um,
I bet
Oh, I Am Legend. Woo.
I Am Legend. It's like in the military, we're so used to going without. Like when we go to the field for 30 days.
oh, Jesus.
I mean, those are things we're prepared for it. So we mentally we're prepared because we've gone through that training. But someone who has never gone through that training before, I mean, like for me, we did some crazy stuff overseas. Like, I mean, I've never in my life put Vienna sausages on a grill before. But we put them bad boys on the grill and threw some barbecue sauce. Man, it was the best thing ever. But only reason why we did that was because it was funny because we didn't have anything to cook on the grill that we got or brought with us. So the only thing we can get from PX was Vienna sausages. So we threw those bad boys up there and that hey, but it's just something that when you're trained or used to that environment, it doesn't really affect you because automatically we automatically snap into survival mode. But if you've never been exposed to that environment, it can be a painful thing. Like for example,
Most civilians ain't.
right,
been-
right. Well, but then like growing up in the
Look,
country, think about it.
come on.
Now, think about it. Now, growing up, now I'm gonna say this: growing up in the country, when we used to stay in the country, out in the country, well, I mean, what do we do for entertainment? We count cars driving by the house because we didn't. There was nothing else to do. So we like now, of course, now with today's society, it's different because there's so much. Everyone's gotten used and comfortable. But I just remember back in the days when we didn't have anything to do. They tell us to go sit out on the porch. We sit on the porch and that's my car. Oh, look at my car. We'll sit there and count cars and stuff.
We would play punch buggy or whatever that thing is. If you see a beat or a VWD, you got to punch. Listen,
Yeah.
y'all, I was stuck in this house with a 12-year-old. They ain't ready. Like it wasn't phasing me, but he was about to have a whole conniption fit. So it was really a good teachable moment for him.
Wi-Fi.
The homeboy was like almost like a fiend. He was like, so is the power coming back on? Like every few minutes, coming in there with the flashlight like the police. Is the power coming back on? You think, mommy, when you think the power coming back on? He'll wait a few minutes. I said, well, Bryson, because the worst part of the storm was when it was dark outside. And I know this is going to sound real silly, but if you have a trampoline for your kids, go on Amazon and order the stakes that you put down in the ground so that it doesn't blow away and cause more damage to other people's property. Like that's a readiness thing too. Make sure all your stuff is anchored down.
Right, because
and I go out there and I dip back into the ground every so often too.
Right. And so what I did was I didn't go out there before the storm and push the stakes further down, but once the sunlight it moved, but had those stakes not been out there, that trampoline and the key thing, I could care less about the trampoline, but damaging our home or somebody else's home. Yeah. You gotta think it becomes yeah, so you need to be able to think about things like that, your patio furniture, that type of stuff. Move that stuff in because you're putting other people at risk of flying objects from your yard. So that was something else that you need to think about when you're getting ready for the storm too. Because the biggest thing was I heard a lot of people say they lost, their trampolines, hit other people's houses, hit people's cars. And because one of my friends asked about Bryson's, and I was like, his is anchored down, like it's been anchored down since a windstorm that wasn't even this magnitude of a windstorm, But I think the key thing is making sure, and I didn't think about this before. Bryson was in there knocked out like it was a normal day. And I could hear that train sound coming, like it sounded like a locomotive was coming through the house.
Oh wow.
Tornado.
It was, and not y'all don't laugh at me because I sleep with a fan on because I be having private summers sometimes. So really, if the power would have stayed on, I think I would have ended up in a situation. Because what happened was when my fan went off, that's when I knew something was wrong. Because a sister felt a little warm, and I said, "Wait, what happened to my fan?" And so that's what made me get up and investigate. I felt like that show Cheaters on this day of investigation. So literally that's what triggered me to get up. So you when you look out the window, you can't see anything. So those people, when those trees fell, they couldn't see those trees coming. They probably could hear them, but it sounded like a locomotive in your house anyways. So the thing that I realized as a parent was I didn't prepare. Remember how we used to get storm preparedness when we were in school of what to do? I hadn't even given him a plan of we need to get in the hallway or in the bathtub. He in there laid out like it's a normal, yeah. And I'm in there like, hey, we got to get in the bathtub or get in the hallway. And he looking at me like, well, what? It was no urgency because I realized as a parent, I hadn't prepared him. So that's the other thing. You need to get your people in your house ready for the emergency.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you know what, everybody, I've never witnessed a tornado or been through one. So they really actually do sound like a train?
Yes.
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 Oh,
I'll never forget. That is a sound that you will never forget. And it's a still darkness. Like it's a darkness.
It gets real dark, and then you hear the train sound. Doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get a tornado. Just know that it's everything.
That's scary. That's really scary.
Everything
Marcella.
been met.
Wow.
And all I knew is once I heard that train sound, I said, let me get first of all, let me put on some decent clothes because I'm not going to be on the news looking crazy. If I survive this, I ain't going to be out there with no bonnet and no mixed match clothes on. So I went to put on me a matching outfit. Like somebody going to really care. Fluff my hair, and I went and got Bryson, and we got us some comforters and stuff, pillows and stuff, put them in the bathtub, and then we got in the hallway. So you need to, that's something that I just thought about when we're talking about readiness and preparedness. It's just like when we used to be in school, we didn't get let out of school. We got prepared. Like you knew to get in the hallway and tuck
your head down.
Yeah.
Window. Get away from the windows.
Get away from the windows. They know more about preparing for an active shooter than a storm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's because that's what my son said. He said, this is like the active shooter drill. I'm like, boy, we didn't have no active school shooters when I was in school. We was preparing for the hurricanes.
All we got to worry about was tornadoes and hurricanes.
Right.
And you got to worry about nothing else but tornadoes and hurricanes.
Yes.
And so mama coming in there with that pink robe and them bedroom shoes because you done messed
and
up.
Them rollers.
Yep, them pink rollers.
Them big rollers in their hair.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's another thing, to put out there is to make sure you anchor all your stuff, prepare your family of what to do, like all those batteries, make sure they know how to plug everything up in advance so that, because it happens so fast, you don't have time for instruction. You got to be in action mode.
And you got to be prepared too for creatures.
Right.
Because like I said, we had a copperhead snake at our front door. And I was in Atlanta, but our area got flooded. So creatures that we never seen before, all of a sudden we had a copperhead snake right on our doorstep.
Yep.
Oh Lord!
So I mean, and my son, if he didn't look down, he would have walked right on top of him.
Well, let me tell y'all something that's been missing here since all of this. The deer are gone.
Yeah.
I don't know where they went. But we should have known then when the deer was gone, it was something really wrong. And they have not come back yet.
I'm joking, been on an extended vacation. I'm not going.
Them jokers said this wind is blowing funny. We out of here.
Yeah.
We ain't seen no what's them other things you run over? No roadkill at all.
Yeah, they look. They know. They look.
Them animals
They-
is gone.
They were prepared.
Mhm, right, the animals
They
were
were prepared.
prepared. The humans were not prepared.
Know of an impending disaster. They'll
Yeah,
let you
animals
know.
and the birds in the sky and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, look. They know when the storm is coming. They say, "Oh hell no, we getting out of here."
Yeah. Grab your kids, grab your wives, grab your babies. We out of here. I'm telling y'all, we have not seen any animals.
Let them dummies stay over there with it. them humans.
Look, maybe they all get killed and we can have the land back. I'm telling you, I felt like we were having a serious I Am Legend moment. It was creepy being outside. Like I said, driving on them power cords was the most scary thing for me. And then just like Mario said, seeing those trees, that's just something.
It blew my mind. Yeah, I've never seen that many trees down. I mean, it's like you driving on the road, and it's like what, like you know how you watch dominoes fall. That's what it looked like. It looked like a bunch of dominoes had fallen on power lines, and like I said, and the thing is, I know it's going to take them forever to fix it because, like I said, almost every 5 miles you have trees on top of power lines.
They're gonna have to put in some 24-hour shifts just to get it back. But see, the trees are pretty and they're beautiful, but you need to know what comes with it.
Well, see, Georgia is known for them pine trees.
Yeah.
Very much so. They everywhere. There's no escaping them. I don't know. I'm sitting up here as we're talking about this saying, what would you do? There's nothing you would, like I said, you would have to blow the whole place up to get rid of the trees. It's that many. Like it's not as simple as just cut them down. They can't. It's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are literally everywhere you turn. Yeah.
The thing you can do though is get them away from infrastructure. Get them away. If they're too close to infrastructure, you need to get rid of them. You need to cut them down. Do what you need to do. Then that way you can not prevent it, but you can circumvent a lot of it happening.
Eric, them trees came from all them trees. You would have to have seen this with your own eyes. This was something to see. All those trees didn't come from, like, they came from back over here to come and fall. It's something you would have to see it. Like people's whole foundations on their homes are lifted up. Like their houses are gonna have to be condemned.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this wasn't like Mario said, it was like chess. Like somebody tapped the tree and all the trees just started falling.
Mm-hmm.
Did they say that Georgia was gonna be hit like that? Did anybody know that? Like
we were in the red. We were in the red. We knew we were gonna have a storm, but nobody knew it was gonna be a catastrophic. This has never happened before.
It's a gap.
And it was kind of crazy because it seemed like Atlanta would have got hit the worst, but it wasn't. It's like it seemed like somehow it bypassed Atlanta and completely destroyed Augusta because Atlanta, you couldn't even tell a storm that came through besides Six Flags, where that's the only area that was really majorly damaged in Atlanta. But we got up and like I said, once we got out of Atlanta. And we didn't even get within like 20 miles of Augusta before we had to detour off and go off the road. And we had to do 5 different detours before it took us 45 minutes just to get out of Augusta.
And then, so the other thing, that happened in Atlanta, I'm telling y'all, it's the signs of the time, was that chemical explosion happened like 2 days later. Like after in the midst of all this stuff going on, people were evacuating to Atlanta, and then they had that big chemical fire in Atlanta. So it's literally been a lot. Like Columbia did not flood; they had more flooding, in parts because I don't know if you paid attention to that, Mario, when y'all rode over Broad River Road, that area, that whole golf course was flooded out.
Yep, it sure was.
So I'm
I said,
telling
well,
you,
I didn't see it until after we got. I didn't notice it until after we got home, and I looked back at Augusta and saw how much damage was done. But I was telling my sister, it's like I had did a wedding right there, off right there where the river is, where the dam is at, and all that whole area.
it's
We took
gone.
pictures that it was underwater.
Hmm. So what I'm telling y'all is Thursday, please have us in your prayers too, because they're not the magnitude of that, because none of our cities can take more water right now or a lot of wind. So Columbia's would be water. They cannot, because all their lakes and stuff were really high. For us, it would be wind again because our trees are still fragile.
Right.
From everything, because what happened was, Eric, you had trees pulling up from other trees that supported those trees. So then you still have trees leaning, even though they may not be by the direct power line, they're leaning further back in the distance. So they're trying to deal with the immediate problem. So if this storm comes through here Thursday, because they're trying to restore power, so they've only done with the outer or the inner line. They haven't dealt with the outer stuff that's further back. That stuff is going to come crashing Thursday and cause the whole situation all over again.
Well, look, I just have to. I know we got a few more, but I got an emergency situation just came up, so I've got to take off.
Okay.
I will, but this was good, and I know we did. I think we need to do a part 2 because
Yes.
After
I
what
think I
happened.
want to see what happens like after this storm has. So I guess next Tuesday we'll do a part 2 to this because we're going to talk about Florida. I wanted to really talk about the stuff that happened with Florida.
Okay.
We didn't get a chance to, but we will. We'll see, next time we won't have any technical difficulties.
No, we got it.
So,
Got it.
this is our first time using this program, so we'll do better next time. But
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all enjoyed the show today. Sorry I got to cut it like 8 minutes short. But I got to run over here. I got to take some food to a family real quick.
All
Okay.
right.
All right. Well, look, y'all be safe during this storm, and look, we'll be tuning in. Look, if we ain't got no Wi-Fi, nobody be foaming at the mouth.
Have a good evening, everybody.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.